This is a 1971 Mgb Gt hatchback, and this is a 70,000 original mile car. It's a barn find, bought from a good buddy of mine, older gentleman, and he owned this car for about 15 years. Kept it in the garage. It's really a garage find, if you want to call it that. Oh. As old cars do. Gauges all work. Oil pressure gauge works. Speedometer does work. Yep, old original radio works. It's pretty cool. Turn it off. Take it for a spin. Seems peppy, man.
Yeah, it did that before too.
Yeah, it's squealing a little tire there, just a little bit. These things are so peppy. Clinton and I were talking about wanting to put an engine like this in a Volkswagen, give it a lot more power.
Yeah.
This is like kind of like a Mini Cooper engine. They're real peppy. Yeah, you can see the speedometer works. Temp gauge does work. Wipers work. I think the only thing electrical doesn't work is the horn. Turn signals work, and even the turn signal indicators work, although they'll be real hard to see in the light. Can you see it?
Yeah, you can a little bit.
This car runs awesome. Now we pulled it out. It hadn't been driven in a while. Went through the engine, new fluids, tune-up, full-blown tune-up. What I want to do is get out, pop the bonnet on it. Got a great sounding engine. I love the way these things sound. I didn't do an engine detail on it or anything. I left it kind of original, but the runs awesome. We did rebuild the carburetor. New gaskets, oil change, all new fluids. Flip this off real quick. There we go. Now, as a lot of these do, being original metal and everything, this bonnet is got a couple little, there we go. Because they're so long and thin and flimsy, they have a tendency to get a couple of little dents in them and stuff like that. So it does have a couple of little spots that it would be really, really hard to see on camera, unfortunately, but in person. Actually, honestly, even out here in the sun, it's kind of hard to see them. But when you get up on it, there are a couple of little spots in the hood that have kind of that little ripple or a dent or whatever. It's also got, only on the hood that I've seen, well, maybe a couple of other spots on the car. It's got little spots on it, and it's an older paint job. It almost looks like it's got, you know, some sort of spots on it we couldn't buff out. From 10 feet away or from 20 feet away, you call it a 20-footer, the car looks really cool. It's a sharp car, tinted windows, really straight body. Aside from that hood, the body's really straight, zero rust underneath it. There is one other spot. It looks like they may have taken the door off, and when they put it back on, they may have dented it just a hair right there. A couple of little spots where the paint's coming off. I mean, the thing is the car the car would be a sweet little driver, and it'd be a great car that you could put a couple bucks in here, a couple bucks in it there, not be upside down in the car. Would spend a little bit more money on this car, have a really nice car, really presentable interior. Original interior, the dashboard looks great. I mean, this is a 70,000 mile original mile car for real. This is the original upholstery. The seats spring right there is sagged, and the only spot I've seen the upholstery that's torn is this one right here on the side of the front of the seat right there. Other than that, it doesn't show any rips or tears. The seats scoot forward and backward like they should, as well as these handles right here working as they should. Back seat looks good. There's some extra parts in the trunk. Headliner's pretty clean, not perfect. But very, very presentable. This is also an original air conditioning car. All the components for the AC are there. Just needs to be hooked up. I don't think we need a key to open the back. Okay, yeah, so the back opens very like it's supposed to. It's very clean. This is extremely, I would almost call this a rust-free car if it weren't for just a couple of tiny, like there's a couple of tiny little bubbles and those couple of spots like I showed you around front, because the car doesn't have any rust on it. The rockers are clean. Get it underneath it. And there may be a couple of spots of like surface rust kind of things, but I mean, these are the original floor pans. They're in excellent condition. Maybe a little bit of like, you know, like this stuff right here, it's like, you know, where the floor pans are scraping off. Okay, there may be like one little spot. There's a couple little spots of rust there. Maybe I didn't see that first. But super, super clean. Not noticing any fluid leaking, no oil or anything. I've had it parked in the same spot. In fact, I had a guy call me this morning. It's real serious about buying it, and he was just asking, there's some free dirt daubers. I'm telling you, we just pulled this thing out. I meant it. So we didn't go under here and detail the undercarriage and try to hide things with undercoating or anything like that. This is a car we pulled out of the garage and got it running. And this is what you get. Really fun little car. I think right now, the condition it's in, looks like it'd be a pretty dependable daily driver. One of the brakes seems to be a little bit sticky. I think it's one of the rear brakes, and I drove it a couple times today actually, and it feels like it sticks for a second, then it unsticks and it rolls just fine, and then it'll stick again. So it'd probably be a good idea to, and we went through the brake system, bled it all out, but just because it's sat up, probably a good idea to go through it one or two more times, drive it a little bit, and then, you know, mess with it. Drive it a little bit, you know, adjust on it just as necessary. Really probably only on the back since they're drums. The front's disc and they're working perfect. So I think this will be a great car for somebody. All the glass is in good shape, no chips, no cracks, no weird weathering or anything that I can see. If it was my car, I'd probably spend a little bit of money painting it, put a new paint job on it. I'd put the GT lights on the front. I like those lights. I'd add that probably. I might put some new tires on it, since these are probably older tires. They have great tread and they don't show major signs of weather rot. But, you know, so I'm just kind of trying to mention everything I can think of. Other than that, I just drive this thing's interiors are really clean on it. Like aside from that little rip that I showed you, really, really clean. In fact, you could probably have an upholstery shop just do a little patch on the, say, I just want to do a little patch on the bottom of the seat right there. Have a really sharp car. It's a really cool MG. It's the first one I've ever had. They're a blast to drive, and I think somebody's gonna have a great time with it.